Joe Burrow out for a couple weeks. Patrick Mahomes lost his luster. Tyreek Hill, where could he go? What's going on? You're watching Red Zone Recap. I'm Phil. Talk about football. Yes, I'm a Panthers fan. You can probably see the banner here, but my team is frustrating, to say the least. They're not included in this video because I think we all know that the Panthers are in trouble. So I'm going to be focusing on some teams right now after week 2, as Sunday Night Football is happening right now, that are going to be looking themselves in the mirror and figuring out what the hell do we got to do right now because we are in a rut. So let's start in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was their home opener. It was up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who already beat my Carolina Panthers, and maybe Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence is a match made in heaven, but there's video out there right now of Trevor Lawrence just waving off his new head coach. So I thought maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars were pretty good. They were tied at 7 apiece in the first quarter, but then as the game went on, something absolutely horrible happened to the Bengals. Maybe the worst case scenario for that franchise. And I thought maybe, not signing T. Higgins to a long-term deal, Trey Hendrickson, maybe not signing him to that one-year deal, but no. The absolute nightmare fuel, worst case thing happened. Joe Burrow going down, trying to make something happen in the pocket, trying to buy himself some time. There are bodies, bullets flying all over the place, and someone caught him at the bottom of the feet. He fell forward. I thought maybe he had a concussion. Worst case, I thought maybe he had an ACL the way he landed. Turns out, as he was walking off his own power, so not an Achilles, not an ACL, but later find out around 7 o'clock in the evening that it's turf toe. The friggin' dreaded turf toe. The turf monster got Burrow. Joe Cool is now going to be cooling for the next couple of weeks. He's going to be on ice. That toe is going to be a problem. He tore several ligaments. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the amount of bones in your feet. It's a lot. And the ligaments are going to keep everything together. And if you tear those things, it's going to take a while for that foot to rehab. It's going to take a while for him to feel comfortable, especially on the turf in Cincinnati. We already know that the owners in Cincinnati are cheap AF. So I can't imagine him being completely comfortable with playing on a hard surface like that. If they have natural grass, nope. Looking at the highlights, no natural grass in Cincinnati. So Joe Burrow going to be out for the next couple of weeks. He is the straw that stirs the drink. I know their head coach Zach Taylor is an offensive dude, and they're kind of a match made in heaven in that sense. But can he continue the good vibes right now as the Bengals are 2-0 right now, and the expectations are high after last year? Like every year, they start slow, then they pick things up, but last year it just wasn't it. Their defense was Swiss cheese. It was absolutely awful. And then this year, maybe not the best either. You still had Jacksonville Jaguars scoring 27 points at home in your home opener. But this team has high aspirations. You got a ton of money wrapped up in your offense, in Jamar Chase, in Higgins, of course, and Joe Burrow as well. And so now you're kind of relying on Jake Browning at the University of Washington to be that guy. And hey, he stepped up to the plate. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. In this game in particular, 241 yards in the air in relief. So he came in late, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, pardon me. But how long is this going to be sustainable? Yes, you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Chase Brown, Canadian, able to, kind of buoy the ship here, but you're missing that magic. And next week, they're at the Vikings. That's going to be tough. That's an early kickoff. Again, the Vikings are going to be on a short week. They're playing a Sunday Night Football right now. And then after that, in week 4, as we just take a look at the rest of their schedule, they then go to Mile High. They go to Denver to take on Sean Payton and company. That's going to be a tough game. They had a tough, controversial loss at Indianapolis. They had a field goal that missed wide right for the hometown Colts in their home opener. But then they had that interference penalty touching the center during the snap. Can't do that. And so they retried again, nailed it at a much closer distance. So then they go to Denver, and then they're at home against the Lions, who the Lions seemingly coming awake, beating up the Bears defense and just laying a 40 burger on them at home in their home opener as well. But the Bengals back at home, but it's not going to be easy up against a Lions team who could be hitting their stride at that point. And if you go as far, so that's 3 weeks. Let's say it's 4, because it could be more. It could be more than that. Then they go to the Packers like that with Jake Browning. Do you want to put your hopes on Jake Browning against Jordan Love and the Packers, who seem to be absolutely humming and potentially a Super Bowl favorite right now, besides the Eagles? And then they have a divisional matchup on October 16th against the Steelers. And who knows what the Steelers are right now. Right now, this seems like, the cast of the whole 9 yards. You got Aaron Rodgers, you got DK Metcalf, you got Jalen Ramsey. Who knows where they are by the time it's week 7, but who knows where the Bengals are going to be if Jake Browning's at the helm and Joe Burrow continually nursing that turf toe. And that's one of those things where it doesn't really get better. You kind of need a whole lot of time off. You need your feet for everything. Absolutely everything. If you wear the wrong shoes, the wrong size, it's too narrow, it's too wide, whatever, too high cut, it's going to have a problem throughout your entire body. And so the Bengals are in serious trouble. I don't know what quarterbacks are out there. Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix is the star in Atlanta right now. If Kirk Cousins is expendable and the Bengals can send them a lot, then that could be something. I'm just thinking about this now, workshopping it. Kirk Cousins with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then when Joe Burrow does come back, whenever he does come back, if he comes back, that's a pretty sweet 1-2 punch right there. So let me know in the comments below, how do you think the Bengals are going to react without Joe Burrow for the next couple of weeks with the dreaded turf toe? Is there a quarterback out there, maybe a backup quarterback, someone who's maybe sitting on a couch? Cam Newton? Just saying. I don't think he's officially put his retirement papers in. Is there a quarterback out there that you would want the Bengals to either reach out to, guys on the street, or make a trade for, a la Kirk Cousins? Let me know in the comments below. All right, let's go to South Florida. The Miami Dolphins losing 33-27 to a divisional rival, Mike Vrabel, and the New England Patriots. That's the Patriots' first win of the year, and it was a crazy game, just back and forth all over the place. They traded punt returns to touchdowns, and then kickoff returns to touchdowns. Just ridiculous game, all in all. That's what you get with the division. But all eyes were on the Miami Dolphins and whether they're going to go 0-2 because after the week 1 showing against the Indianapolis Colts, kind of surprising, taking everybody by surprise. Daniel Jones kind of at the head of the ship with the Colts. Anthony Richardson being told to sit down and just kind of learn the game of football. I don't think anybody expected the Colts to come out like that and beat up on the Dolphins. And they were looking at maybe potentially going 0-2. And what is that going to mean for the immediate future? Mike McDaniel, man, looks real gaunt out there. He's wearing a hoodie. And in Miami, by the way, I know he's skinny, but is he that skinny? He looks stressed out. Tyreek Hill going through a lot of stuff off the field as well. But then, trade talk rumors just started coming up before even kickoff happened. So now they are 0-2. What's going on is Tua Tagovailoa, the guy. He goes 26-32, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, QBR rating of 43.2. He got guys the ball. He aired out Devon Kane, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 109 yards, no touchdowns. But, the idea was before this, obviously it was just week 1, but it's you're not getting touches, you're not getting your ball. So what's the deal? So what's the future with this team? Because Tua Tagovailoa, I think he doesn't strike me as a guy who could really, I think the experiment with Tua is nearing the end. And I think just the way this franchise works, and you saw how they work, with the Deshaun Watson thing, and you had Tua in the building, but it didn't really seem like they believed him much, and they're doing side deals with Tom Brady and maybe with Deshaun and try to, get Tua out of there. It seems like he's always kind of had one foot out the door, and if this thing goes sideways, which I think it will, they'll most likely go 0-3 when they go up against the Bills. They might sneak a game against New York Jets. We'll see how Justin Fields does. He was out with a concussion in this game this week against the Bills. But I can already see this front office with the Miami Dolphins looking at this 2026 NFL draft and seeing some of the talent out there. It's not really materialized yet. Who's going to be some of the top dogs? All right, last but not least, one of the teams that I'm not worried about, but it just seems like the tides are changing a little bit, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Not only are they 0-2 for the first time since 2014, they're 0-3 if you want to go all the way back to the Super Bowl, and they had a Super Bowl rematch against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it wasn't exactly an offensive firepower type of thing, and that's just the kind of game that the Philadelphia Eagles make you play. Jalen Hurts, I think he passed for about 15 yards more than when Saquon Barkley ran. So Jalen Hurts, 15 for 22, 101 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the air. He did run in a touchdown, which he routinely does now. I think he had 2 last week in week 1. He's got 1 now. Didn't have to do much because his defense absolutely put the Kansas City Chiefs in a chokehold. Patrick Mahomes, 16 for 29, 187 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He led the team with 66 rushing yards. The leading receiver was Travis Kelce and his old bones at 61 yards. Tyquan Thornton had 59 yards receiving. The longest, 49 yards of it was in one play. And it looks like at that moment they were reaching desperation mode with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the thing is, it's so crazy to see with the Chiefs, not only them going 0-2, 0-3, if you want to count the Super Bowl when they got absolutely embarrassed, is that they're not figuring it out. There's not some offensive weapon that's just being elevated, that is not elevating themselves, or Patrick Mahomes not elevating them. Are they holding up for Rashee Rice to make an appearance to try to kickstart this thing? They got to find an answer, unless this is just the natural flow of football, where eras come and they go, and the Chiefs, they had their era. I'm not saying they're dead. I think ESPN put out a stat there that out of all the teams that are going 0-2, very few actually make the playoffs. But these teams, particularly in this 2025 year, if they go 0-2, there's a higher chance they can still make the playoffs, and that'd be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens obviously beat the F down the Cleveland Browns, and so they're 1-1 now. They didn't go 0-2, but the Chiefs did. But they still think, I believe it's like a 45% chance they still make the playoffs. And I believe they will. I think they'll have a get-right game. They go to Manhattan or Jersey, take on the New York Giants next week. But then the week after that, this one's going to be crazy. They're going to be at home against the Baltimore Ravens. And then after that, they're up against the Jaguars, the Lions, and the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bills. Oh, I'm just reading their schedule. The Broncos, the Colts, and then maybe their next break, if you want to call it a break, because the Colts are surprising everybody right now. They are 2-0 after upsetting, if you want to call it that, the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, always going to be a tough out, especially a Mile High divisional game. They're at the Ralph, taking on the Bills. That's going to be on November 2nd. And then before that, the Commanders, the Raiders, that's possibly a winnable game, but it's also divisional, so you never know. Throw the records out. So maybe their next easiest game will be the Cowboys, November 27th. So yeah, you got to think a little bit. Like, Kansas City Chiefs fans, if anything, are exceptionally blessed from what they have with Patrick Mahomes. And if Travis Kelce does retire, I'm sure they will find somebody to replace him, whether it's Noah Gray or someone else. It will click. But right now, let's just enjoy the fact, if you're not a Chiefs fan, that they're 0-2. And I don't care that they were playing Brazil in week 1 and then back home against the reigning Super Bowl champs. It's just crazy to see. Did not think we'd be in this moment where the Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. That was Andy Reid's second year, and that was the last time they didn't make the playoffs. Could we potentially see that again this year? Let me know in the comments below. If you are a Chiefs fan, a little worried. And if you're not, you're kind of happy about it. I mean, if they don't go to the playoffs, Travis and Taylor Swift could maybe have a wedding in January. Go somewhere nice, go to Cabo, get married in Cabo. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Don't have to wait until March or February. No, we wouldn't have to wait till March. Rates could be a bit cheaper. I think it'll work out. Let me know in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing here, all NFL stuff, some of the bigger stories, just seeing, what catches my eye. This week it felt like a lot of teams potentially facing 0-2. What could their future look like? And then next week, maybe we'll be like, who are the big winners? I don't know. I'm kind of workshopping it. Let me know down in the comments below what kind of stuff you'd like to see.